Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Jobadiah Christensen. My gamer name is Roman Ragnarok. I just want to say welcome and thank you for coming to my channel and checking this out. For those of you who have been here before, I'm so sorry that I have not provided you with battle reports. I did play a little bit this summer. I did go to some in-person tournament in May and in June, and I was just not able to actually record those battles. Basically, most of those games I wasn't even able to get through 6 turns, and so to take the time to actually take pictures as it was happening it was too much. So I need to figure out a way to take pictures and play faster and actually finish games in 3 hours. So that's all I have to say about that. But here we are. It is the fall, and I'm not going to go into any more of why I haven't done it. So here we are. This is a battle report. I played on 10-3-20-21. This was game 1 of the Fading Flame League. This is Fading Flame League year 2. It was started last year by Abraxas, and it was a lot of fun. And now Abraxas has taken a step back, and there are a couple other guys that have taken it over. They've reorganized it, and they made a website for it. It's really cool. Um, I'll post some links to it in the description box below if you want to check it out. But anyway, you're here to check out this battle report. Now, if you notice, I am back playing Sylvan Elves. Yes, I took a year off, basically, from Sylvan Elves, and I played Empire for most of the last year. And then I decided to go back to Sylvan Elves. Empire was fun, but it's just something I was missing, and I was getting the itch to go back to Sylvans. Um, and look at this in Fading Flame League, they are allowed to play the supplements. So my first round opponent is playing Makhar. So I'm gonna get into that. Basically, the way Fading Flame League works is you know who all your opponents are. You're placed in a league. So you're in groups of 6. So I have 5 opponents. I'm basically playing 5 rounds, and if I do well enough, I'll move on to like the championships. If not, then not. That's fine. Basically 5 games. You submit either 1 or 2 lists ahead of time. I only submitted 1 list because I want to get really, really good with this list. I don't want to. I thought about 2 lists, but I decided not to. Here, I'll go back. Um, because I know it takes me several games to actually learn how to play a list. So my opponent was Didi Der Klein. He's from Germany. He was on Makhar, and this was my first time playing Makhar. So I was actually really excited because never get the opportunity to play against him. So here we go. Sylvan Elves. So I started. When I went back to Sylvan Elves, and I decided I really love shapeshifters, and I decided the thing to fix was I've used one shapeshifter before, but the problem is with one shapeshifter is most of the time your opponents can zone or range or minimize the effect that it has on the battlefield. So I figured if I had 3 shapeshifters, it's a lot more harder to handle. And I played a list, a similar list to this, but a little bit different in a team tournament just a couple weeks ago, and I used 3 shapeshifters. Pretty similar to these ones, though I did change up a little bit the itemization on these to optimize them a little bit better based on how I did in that team tournament. But anyway, I didn't. I'm not gonna do battle reports from that team tournament. I'm sorry. I took some screenshots and I didn't have time, and now I'm so far removed. Those battle reports would be trash, and so here we are. I'm gonna try to at least do battle reports for the league that I'm in because that's a little bit more interesting, I hope, than a team tournament. So this is my list. Okay, I've got Forest Prince, Willow's Ward. Basically, I've got 3 fighty Prince shapeshifters. Okay. I have a druid with general on druidism. One of the reasons I went away from Sylvan Elves a year ago was because I felt that I couldn't be competitive with Sylvan Elves unless I took druidism, and that really irked me the wrong way. I know there are some Sylvan Elf players who are able to be effective not using druidism, but I think it takes even more skill. Although I do see a lot more people using Cosmo, so I might have to check that out. But anyway, it really irked me that I felt like it was a given. Anytime I feel like you have to have an automatic unit or automatic character in your list, that's an issue. And so I didn't like that, but here I am playing a master on Druidism. I had to renege on that. I'm still not 100% convinced that that's what you need to do, but I'm trying it out for now. Archer's banner speed. Last in the team tournament, I used the banner of discipline because I put the general in there, and that was pretty good. But I felt the problem is that archers can't keep up with the shapeshifters or the rangers, so I put the banner speed in there just to help it out just a little bit. All right, and then I put dryads in because I felt like I needed a better scoring unit. Last team tournament, I had 2 archer units, and so I went down to 1 archer unit and a dryad unit instead. Um, anyway, and I added a tree father and 2 units of pathfinders just to help me out. So, this is the list I'm playing against. Uh, yeah, you probably don't know much about Makhar. Basically, this list, the whole thing vanguards. Well, not the whole thing. He's a couple units that don't vanguard. Most of it vanguards. And most of it shoots you, and most of it shoots you as well as elves shoot you. So, when I first looked at this list, I was like, this is going to be an easy matchup. And then I went in and looked more at the Makhar book, and then I was like, oh, this is not going to be easy because Horse archers have aim 3 up. And oh, if Horse archers are within short range, they get +1 to hit. So they're actually hitting on 2s. And oh, they have +1 AP also at short range. And oh, they can shoot you and flee if you charge them. They have like a combined feigned flight move. It's like shoot on the run. So anyway, they're like better than elves, and oh, they're cheaper than elves. Okay, so that's fun. Um, and one of the things that my list is a little susceptible to, the shapeshifters are pretty resilient against small arms fire because they're tough 4. Then they all have like a 3 up, 5 up, or 4 up, 4 up against shooting. But if you have enough arrows, and this guy has 40 arrows, 40 arrows can kill a shapeshifter in a turn. You right? Like they're hitting on 2s and 3s. I'm just not gonna save all those. Yeah, he's only wounding on 5s, but you'll get enough 5s and 6s, and then I'm gonna fail enough armor save and aegis saves that my shapeshifters are gonna die. So I was a little hesitant about his list. He did a very nice thing, my opponent, and he went through and he drafted up this quick document. Let me see if I can show this to you. Here we go. All right. Hopefully you can see this. I tested this before I started the video. So he wrote up this document. This is his list, and then he wrote up a document. He basically copied and pasted all the special rules so that it was easy to reference. So this helped me learn the army beforehand, and I decided I did the same thing with the Sylvan Elves just so he had it too, just to be fair. So Makhar Batter Fever. uh, The main thing I was worried about was devastating charge having hard target, right? Because he's not gonna flee if I shoot him. Alright, here's the parting shot I was talking about as a special charge reaction. He can do a parting shot, so they can shoot charge and then they do a flee charge reaction. So they can do both with one reaction. So that's fun. Um, um, let's see. The other things I was worried about. He's got this general on an elk, which is kind of cool, but he has distracting, and this mammoth hide cloak makes it so that attacks against the wearer can never have a strength above 5, which is an issue because all of my shapeshifters have strength 6 or 7, and so they're not going to be as effective against him. So I was a little hesitant about that. I was really worried about his 2 Goyas. He's got Wildfire Burst with shots 4, strength 4, and always hits on 3 plus. I hate things that have always hits on something because I have hard target on my shapeshifters. Hard target doesn't do anything if it always hits on 3 plus. So basically, his 4 shots. My shapeshifters have 3 wounds, so theoretically, shots 4. He's always hitting on 3 plus, and he's gonna wound me on 4s. He's AP 1. This is gonna also, this is bad news for my shapeshifters. So that's bad news. Hawthorne Curse again is like the same thing. Range 18, shots 1, but it's strength 6. So he's going to wound me on a 2. He always hits, or he never suffers negative to hit modifiers, which is pretty similar to always hitting on 3 plus. And then I'm not going to get an armor save, and he wounds me on a 2, and then he can do multiple wounds if I fail my Aegis save. So I was really worried about Hawthorne Curse and Wildfire Burst. So basically that. The other special things to notice is he's got 2 Wasteland Torches, so he was going to get rid of 2 terrain pieces. And then he has recurve bow. This is that special bow I was talking about as horse archers. Shooting weapon bow. They gain quick to fire, like just like my Sylvan Elves do. And then when shooting from short range, they gain +1 to hit and +1 AP. So yes, they're only strength 3 at short range, while I'm strength 4 at short range, but he's very mobile. So anyway, he's a very mobile list. A lot of it vanguards. So there you go. Let's go back. Okay. So here is his list. Most of it vanguards and okay. So in Fading Flame Lake, they tell you what your secondary objective is and the type of deployment, but then you always roll for the map. So for round 1, it's Breakthrough on Encircle, but we rolled for the map and it's map 5. Okay, these are the spells. So I'm trying to do a better job at explaining as I go. So I have a master on Druidism. I took 1, 2, 4, and 5, and once you see the map, you'll see why. I almost took the number 3 spell because then I could make his shooty units hit me worse, or I can make one shooty unit hit me worse. But the problem with that spell is it has to be within range of woods, and with his torches, I knew he would, even if there were woods on his, a forest on his side of the board, he was just going to use a torch to make it ruins, and so I realistically I wasn't going to be able to cast it. So that's why I didn't take number 3. There's also water terrain on the map, so 1 was a good choice. If there's no water terrain, 1 is an iffy choice. But yeah, and then Master of Earth, and basically 4 and 5 are a given when you play Druidism. 2 for me most of the time is a given because there's no other range damage from Druidism, so you really want to have at least 1 damage spell when you're taking spells, and then I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I take 1, sometimes I tried 6 once, 3 is always an option, or even the Hereditary, but anyway. And then he had a master in Shamanism. He of course had 1, 2, 5, and 6. I almost thought he was going to take 3, because that would have made my shooting less effective, but I guess he wasn't that afraid of my shooting. Or maybe he didn't think about that. I don't know. Swarm of Insects, though, is good. So, here we go. Here is the deployment. Yeah, so he dropped for first. So, I got to pick the... Did I pick the sides? I think I picked the sides. Um... Or no, he picked the side, and then I think I told him to deploy first, because with Breakthrough, I always want to go second. And if your opponent gets to pick the side, and if he gets to deploy off of where you deploy, it's a benefit to him. Is my logic on this. So I let him deploy first. He dropped all for first turn because he has Vanguard on most things. But I have a lot of Vanguard too. So he deployed, and then I deployed this way to counter him. In hindsight, I'm not 100% happy with this deployment. I think there's some things I could have done a little bit better, but basically I figured on this left flank, so I'll just go through, okay? He's got flayers, he's got horse archers, his big block of Makhar lancers with his general and his shaman in there. Then he's got his wolfhounds, then he's got his warrior knights with the wasteland torch so they can be in the ruins, no problem. And then he's got flayers, each with one of those shooty gulas in there with those weapons I don't like, and then he's got another unit of Makhar lances on his right flank. Okay, he's got scoring. Um, those 3 at least score. I don't remember if the horse archers score. I don't think they do. So those are his scoring. I, of course, have on my left flank to counter his horse archers, I put my tree father because his strength 3 isn't really going to do much against my resilience 6. And then I put 2 shapeshifters as well because I didn't want my shapeshifters anywhere near his 2 gulas. So I put him on this flank. I figured I could just run through his horse archers and then get into the flank of his general's unit and just run down the line. So that was kind of my strategy there. I put Dryads here because I figured out of all my units, Dryads could take a charge from his Lancers the best, because his Lancers have high AP, but they can't get through my Aegis save. Um, maybe Rangers could have taken a charge pretty well, because they are going to strike before the Lancers, and they're gonna chop through the armor better because they have AP3 and Dryads only have AP1. So that's a toss-up. You know, maybe I should have put the Rangers here instead of Dryads, but that was my thought process, was that Dryads could take a charge better than Rangers. That's why I put Dryads in the list. They're a little bit tankier. They can take a charge a lot better than Rangers. So that was the thought process. All right, then I have, of course, an Eagle, just a chaff, and he's far back so that he won't shoot me. I have archers. These are actually ruins. So this forest in the middle of the board, this is the forest that I got to deploy. He made this field and this forest back here both ruins from his wasteland torches. So I put my archer block in the ruins because I'm not really planning on marching with them, so they're fine in the ruins, and that gives them hard cover. I put scouted pathfinders back here because I knew he was going to go first, and I didn't want him to just shoot up my pathfinders. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that soon. I put heath hunters in the water just because I figured I wanted to chaff this unit. I did put a shapeshifter back here just so that he couldn't just run over this flank, and I put pathfinders here as well because the pathfinders are my best defense against his lancers, was my thought process. I think I maybe should have put a pathfinder unit in the ruins, but I think the reason I didn't was he could then charge me with his warrior knights on turn 1, and I didn't want to give him that opportunity because I would have had to flee, and then they wouldn't be able to shoot. I don't know. Maybe I should have, and not been so reliant on their shooting, because that's partly why I brought them in units of 6. They 6 is just enough arrows that they can cause damage, but it's also cheap enough that you can use them as chaff. So maybe I should have put them in the ruins. Whatever. All right, and then we vanguarded. So this is what it looks like after we both vanguarded. Um, I'm not 100% certain I should have vanguarded my shapeshifters so far out. But I wanted to pressure him because that's the whole advantage of shapeshifters, is to put pressure. I vanguarded this shapeshifter way back here because, again, I was worried of these guys. Um, these guys vanguarded up just to prevent him from getting close because you can't move within 6 inches of another unit that vanguarded. So it is what it is. Alright, so then on turn 1, so he pushes up, okay? So he chaffs with his flares here, so this shapeshifter can't do much, he can't do much. And then I know he's just gonna try to shoot up this shapeshifter, and then he's zoning with these lancers because I have nothing to pressure the lancers at this point. I've got rangers in the woods, which he is chaffing with his hounds. If I charge the hounds with the rangers, then that'll give a flank charge to his warrior knights, so of course I can't do that on my turn. Then he moves up his 2 flare units to just shoot up my heath hunters. That was a big mistake. I should have recognized he was going to do that, and I shouldn't have vanguarded them forward. I should have just kept them back, or I don't know what. I don't know. The heath hunters weren't really going to do much in this battle because I knew they could just get shot up in 1 turn. So it is what it is. All right. So then we have magic. So this is what happened in magic phase. It was, um, what was the phase? Here, it's the 4 card. Okay, so it was like 7 to 5. He rolled, um, swarm of insects on my shapeshifter. I let it through because my shapeshifter that he casted on has a 4/4. He has Destiny's Call. I figure he'll get 1 wound through on average, maybe 2 wounds if he spikes. So this is what happened. He rolled 17d6. So this was his number of, yeah, so that he rolled 5d6, so he got a 17, which was a little bit higher than average, gets 5d6, but not terrible, about expected. But then he did spike. He rolled 4 6s, so out of 17, he rolled 4 6s. He should have only rolled 3, but that's fine. 4 isn't that bad. Well, here's my armor save. I have to roll a 4 up because it's AP0. I rolled 2 3 3 3, so I don't save anything on the armor save. And then I roll my 4 up Aegis save. I roll 3 3 3 6. So I saved 1, but that doesn't matter. I only have 3 wounds. That shapeshifter's gone. So, and then, so that was just super funny. And I was really bummed because this is turn 1. I don't even get to do anything with that shapeshifter. And he just blasted off the table with a swarm of insects. It just goes to show you, you never know what should have happened. Like, maybe I should have just kept both shapeshifters back behind the impassable where he wouldn't have been able to cast magic on them. Yeah, he could have ridden his horse archers up and shot at me, but to get into a position to shoot at me, I would have been able to charge with my Tree Father. So I maybe shouldn't have even vanguarded my shapeshifters and just kept them back. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. That's something I'm not sure about. That's because I lost a shapeshifter, and if I hadn't vanguarded him, I don't think I would have lost that shapeshifter. So that's just something to think about. All right. Anyway, then though I'm able to stop his totemic because he's of course he's going to cast totemic beast. So at least I stopped that. All right. So now it is his shooting phase. Okay, he completely destroyed my Heath Hunters here. He killed a Pathfinder here, and that's all he does in his shooting phase, which was good. I was thinking he was going to do a lot more damage to me in the shooting phase. Alright, so then I do my moves, alright? I move my Vanguard. So this is what I did. I declared this Tree Father, we're starting this left flank here. My Tree Father declared a charge on the Flayers. I think I needed a 9. I didn't get it. So he only went a couple inches. That's another thing I'm debating whether or not I should have done. I was hoping kind of for a terror check. um, Yeah, I don't know if I should declare that charge. Maybe I should have just marched my Tree Father forwards, did my Strangle Roots, because it's not like I care if the Horse Archers charge me, because even on the charge, they're only Strength 5. And, well, yeah, I don't really want to be charged by Strength 5, AP 2. I don't know. And then I also, at the same time, I probably should have just charged my Shapeshifter into the Flayers to kill him, but I didn't. I moved him over. Oops, into the flank here. So now I'm kind of on the flank of his army, and he has to keep maneuvering. I was trying to give him to give me a flank so I could charge with my Dryads this way. So, um, and then over here, I just shifted my Rangers a couple inches over so they could still charge and I wasn't being chaffed. I moved my Pathfinders up because I want to try to chew up the Flare units. Um, these archers are in a good position already to shoot the hounds, so I don't have to worry about them. Eagle is just hiding behind the impassable, so I can chaff. I can fly out here and chaff. And then this shapeshifter moves up just to pressure, because I want to be able to pressure and take out these units on this flank. So that's what I'm doing. Um, and then I have magic. I'm able to get off the healing waters, the fortitude, on the Pathfinders, but I actually failed on my throne. I one dice throne and I rolled a 3. And this happened several times this battle. I'm not sure I should one dice the throne, but it just feels if you're two dicing, you're giving your opponent an advantage because then you're using all your dice. So anyway, that's a different discussion for how many dice to use on the oaken throne. I pretty much just one dice it. All right. Shooting. Pathfinders actually do a good number on the flayers, even though they have cover from the woods, but it doesn't matter because I have +2 to hit. Archers are able to kill 3 hounds, or however many he had. He had 5, yeah. So I killed 3, caused a panic. He fled back here, which was good for me. And then my shapeshifter here, he failed the march check, so he couldn't march. So I was going to try to march him down here, and I couldn't. He couldn't. So instead, I just moved 6 inches and then shot at the flares at point blank range. So I killed 1. And that was basically it for my turn. Alright, and then on his turn, and this is why it was probably a mistake, I should have just charged the shapeshifter into the flares and gotten rid of them, because now they move back here and they're into my back line. And that's bad. So now I have to deal with them, right? That was another mistake. I made all these mistakes on turn 1. He ignores my shapeshifter and he moves around it this way. He actually, this unit here charges my pathfinders. These pathfinders flee because I rolled like a 7 and I knew I was still on the board. I was going to be on the board, well, unless I rolled really, really high. But I figured if I stay, they're going to die if he reaches me. And he's a good chance of reaching me if I stay. And then he's just going to be in my archer's flank. And that's going to be bad news. So I fled, right? So then they failed and they end up here. Then he moves his other unit of flares over here to threaten my other Pathfinder unit. Alright? then he just starts to try to zone me with the warrior knights. He's basically trying to maneuver and get a flank charge with his lancers into my rangers, and that's what's happening here. Um, magic phase, I basically save my dice to stop. Um, uh, I'm trying to think what happened to Swarm of Insects. Anyway, he got Awaken the Beast off on these archers. I don't really care about that. I stopped Totemic Summons because that's really the one I care about back here. And then it goes on to shooting. Unfortunately, he shot and just killed all these Pathfinders. So that's something I didn't think about when I took units of 6, and that is that when you only have 6 guys in a unit, 6 elves, um, even though they have hard target, they can just get shot and die, and so you can't use Druidism to bring them back. If I had 10 Pathfinders, I could have used Druidism to heal them back, but so I'm gonna have to think about that going forward, whether or not I should have 2 units of 6 or just 1 unit of 10, um, because I just lost 6 and there's no way to bring that 6 back. So there's that. But that's basically all his shooting does, which was good. So then on my turn, I charge my shapeshifter into his flares because I'm not really worried about that combat. I can take him pretty well. His ghouls are just good at shooting. They're not good at combat. And then, oh, I guess he did. I don't know how he wounded my rangers, but anyway, he wounded my rangers. I then swift reform and move my archer 6 inches so that I can get into short range to shoot up his flares because this is my only hope. Because otherwise they have a charge, easy charge, and it's gonna mess my whole back line up. I move my tree father back like this so that he can't charge around me. This shapeshifter took a couple wounds from shooting, so I had to move it back. I couldn't pressure him anymore. I had to move him back here. And then I put my... Why did that happen? And then I moved my eagle forwards because I also pushed my dryads forwards because I figure I want to try to chaff him and charge him with my dryads. So, yeah, there you have that. So then on magic, I cast a healing spell, Summer Growth, and I heal the 2 wounds back from the shapeshifter. I'm trying to think what else happened. I don't remember what else I tried to cast, but that was basically what I got off. Shooting phase, I kill all except for the Gula. So that was really good from this unit. But though now I still have that guy to deal with, which is a bit of an issue. This is his BSB. And my tree father did strangle roots and killed another flare, so I'm slowly whittling them down. And then I have my shapeshifter in this unit for combat, which he killed several of them, and then he had a couple left, and they broke, and I decided not to pursue because they're so close. I knew they were basically going to run off the board. I restrained, they fled off the board, and then I just pivot. So now I have most of this flank cleared up, except for his BSB in my back, which is a little bit of an issue. But yeah. So then on his turn, he doesn't charge me. He moves his lancers back because he knows he doesn't want to be charged by the dryads. I don't know why he moved the flayers back. I think that was a mistake on his part. I think he should have moved the flares over here to shoot me. Though I guess I would have just turned and shot him the next turn, but I don't know. I think he should have done that. I don't know. So he moved him back here. Maybe that was smart for him. I think that was fine actually. Of course, he moves his horse archers this way. The way I move my shapeshifter, I can't charge, and my tree father, I can't charge, so he's safe to just move here and shoot my eagle up. Not a lot I can do at this point. And then he pushes his knights into these ruins. Okay, and then he chaffs. He's got the hounds back, and he chaffs my rangers. So now I've got something, and then he moves his BSB over to here. So my shapeshifter can now be shot at by his BSB. I can't charge his BSB. My rangers can't charge his knights because of the hounds, and I have if I don't do anything, his knights are just gonna charge and take out my general's unit, and they're gonna be in my deployment zone, and it's breakthrough. So that's gonna be really hard to deal with. So this is kind of like the pivotal turn. Um, to see what happens. To make matters worse, he gets he gets break the spirit off on my rangers, which I let through because I know I'm not really going to charge him anyway because he chaffed me. But then I fail to dispel totemic beast, so he actually gets a totemic beast off right here in my backline. So bad. It was bad. I'm feeling real iffy at this point. Um, Shooting wise, he does his breath weapon and he kills some pathfinders. I got lucky, he only killed two. Shooting, he did a wound on my shapeshifter here from the BSB. Um, and then of course he kills my eagle. So now I don't really have chaff anymore because my pathfinders are too far back to really be chaff. But that's fine. So then on my turn, and I made another mistake on this turn. Let's see if you spotted it. I moved my tree father up because he can't charge anything, but now he's pressuring, right? Yeah, he can ride around this way if he wants, but I'm deciding to pressure. I charge this shapeshifter, charges the hounds, because I realize I need to clear the hounds. I don't want to charge the rangers because I don't want DT tests, and I need to get this shapeshifter over here to deal with these knights. So what I do is I move this shapeshifter from behind the impassable over here. So now, it he can still charge my archers, but they have to wheel and go this way. They have to make a wheel and go this way. He can still do it, but he has to go this way. My plan was if I charge this shapeshifter into hounds, I can kill them and then overrun and maybe get far enough forwards that he's not going to be able to wheel. He's going to have to charge a shapeshifter. He's not going to be able to charge my archers. So that was what I was going to do there. It did expose a flank to his BSB, but I don't really worry about it because I still have four rangers, and he's gonna have six attacks on him if he charges me in the flank, so I don't really care. And then I turn my archers around this way just so I can shoot his totemic beast. All right. So, magic wise, I get off Stone Skin actually on this shapeshifter. So he's res 6 because I failed to get thrown off again. And then I heal. What did I heal? I healed these pathfinders because I just cast a healing spell on them instead of the rain. Well, I only have 20 for ranger, so I didn't lose any from shooting. That was a mistake. Do you see my mistake? Um, so here we go. I killed the hounds. I think I'm not sure I'm actually enough forwards. I think I just barely got enough forwards with the overrun that he's not going to be able to fit between with a wheel. But it's really, really close. If he wants to get into my archers, I think he can. Luckily, with my shooting, I did kill a totemic beast, so that was nice. And my tree father did kill some flayers with his, so that was only one flayer left, but one is enough to chaff. Okay, and here's the big mistake. I forgot to move my dryads. I should have angled them in a way that kept his his warrior knights in my front, and I didn't. So he charges his knights into my flank. He charges his lancers into my front. He moves his horse archers back here because they're going to try to shoot at my shapeshifters. And then he just chaffs my tree father with the one flare that's left because I didn't charge it on turn 1 with my shapeshifter. And he still has his flares alive to chaff me. And that's why you always should get rid of the chaff first. Okay. Magic wise, to make it worse, he gets Awaken the Beast off on his Lancers. I think he made him res 4. So he put the Resilience spell on them. And this was a mistake. I shouldn't have put Stone Skin on the Shapeshifter. I should have put Stone Skin on the Dryads, and I didn't. So, it is what it is. He also gets off Totemic Beast again. Again. Alright, so Totemic Beast kills 3 archers. So I think I was a little lucky with that. His BSB's way back in the corner. He shoots my Pathfinders, kills 2 of them. and he gets a wound off on my shapeshifter from all of these horse archers. All right, in combat actually went really well. I was able to kill one knight, and I was able to kill. I don't know if wait, how many did he not move them right? Oh, this is at the end of combat. This is at the end of the combat phase. So I killed a couple of his lancers. He did a combat reform. I well anyway, I'm steadfast because I killed. How many did I kill of him? Math is hard. He has 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has 12. He started with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 15. So I only killed 3. But anyway, I was steadfast because I killed 3 in the back row, right? So he only has 1 rank beyond the first. He kills. I still have 2 ranks after the first. So I'm steadfast, discipline 8. Um, and I rolled an 8. So I stayed, and then he knew he was in trouble because he had to break me that first turn. Because now I have a shapeshifter here that can get into his knights. I have a shapeshifter here that can get into his lancers. His lancers are now I think only strength 4, and yeah, he's in trouble. So that was really lucky that I rolled an 8. Okay. So of course that's what I do. I charge my Tree Father into his flare just to get rid of it. Um, I charge this shapeshifter into the flank of his knights. I charge this shapeshifter into the flank of his lancers. I was really worried because I had to take DTs charging through the ruins, but I decided it was worth there was a chance that I was gonna fail, but luckily, I didn't take any wounds, so I didn't have to roll any saves. And then, of course, my rangers are just here threatening. I think he made a mistake, and a turn or two ago, I think the turn he charged with his knights this way, he should have taken these lancers and tried to go this way, and he didn't. I think that's what he should have done. So he didn't move his lancers at all. I think he was trying to zone my rangers from my rangers getting into his zone. But as soon as I move out of the woods, he's just gonna shoot me up with his horse chargers. So I don't think that's that big of a deal. All right. Um, and then with healing, I actually get thrown off. I heal back some dryads, and I heal. I do the summer growth spell on the shapeshifter to heal him back, so he's at full health again. And I just wreck him, of course. He did declare a challenge with his knight unit. My dryad champion accepted. He killed my champion, and then I was able to kill him several of his knights my shapeshifter regardless. Um, yeah, so I won that combat and I pursued with everything, which got my dryads and this shapeshifter into his horse archers. And from this point on, it's almost game over. Okay, Pathfinders are shooting at his BSB. Chief Father took care of his flare, so now he's threatening. Basically, there's not a lot he can do. Um, then we're on to this turn. I broke his horse archers and they fled, so they're here. I pursued with the dryads, but I restrained with my shapeshifters so that I could face this way. Again, his horse archers shoot at my shapeshifter and get 2 wounds on him. And his totemic beast charged into my archers. Luckily, I was able to. I couldn't shoot at him, but I was able to hold because I had a rank. And then I reformed, so I have more ranks. Um, he's still doing work trying to kill my Pathfinders with his BSB. At this point, he basically wanted to call it, and I convinced him to keep playing because from this point, I figured, yeah, I'm gonna win because I have Dryads in his deployment zone, basically. So I'm gonna win objective, but a few things could happen. Number one, his BSB could snipe my shapeshifter. I think he could have put his BSB here to chaff my rangers and then tried to push. I think he needed to do it a turn before, but I think he could have pushed his lancers up into my zone and at least draw objective. So I figured he could draw objective. he could maybe snipe a shapeshifter, and then he would have actually gotten some points. Um, we, we kept playing. I got a little lucky. My two Pathfinders sniped his BSB, so his BSB was killed. The shapeshifter, of course, dealt with the horse archers. These Dryades dealt with this horse archers and got into his deployment zone. And then I moved this shapeshifter back just so he can be healed and safe. I killed a totemic beast, and all he has left are these lancers, who at this point can't do anything because if he moves them forwards, my rangers would just charge him and take care of him. And so that was the game. All right, so I killed 4560. He killed 990. Ends up being a 20-0. I was really kind of surprised because those first 3 turns, it was not going well. Okay, this is just a lesson out there, folks. I lost one of my princes on turn 1. He was like 450 points turn 1, just out of the game. So he's already up by 450 points. He was shooting. He got most of my chaff pretty early on, so I have no way to chaff him. I think if he could have pressed his advantage a little bit better, and I think he did by trying to charge those Dryads. I think his main mistake was um, he kept focusing on my Pathfinders. I think if he had just like he could, there was a turn where he could have pushed his flayers or both flare units in and just shut up my archer unit. Because if he deals with my general and the ability to heal my guys, then he would have sniped my shapeshifters. Like this army that I'm playing is really only good because of the shapeshifters. If you can deal with the shapeshifters, you can beat me. That's basically it. That's my secret. All right. That was the game, 20-0. It was a fun game. It was fun playing him. He's a little bit of a newer player, and he told me that ahead of time, so um, I knew I had a little bit of an advantage there, but you never know. Some people are a lot better newer players than when I was 2 years ago, so anyway, so that was round 1. I was just really happy because I felt like I had a big loss at the beginning of the game, like I said, and then I I also got a 20, which I never get a 20, and I especially like never got 20s when I played Sylvan Elves. I got close with Empire, but when I was playing Sylvan Elves, I was lucky to get 5 points last year and the year before that. So anyway, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. It was just a fun game. My encouragement is to just keep playing, even when something big happens on turn 1 and you lose one of your favorite units. Just keep playing, right? It's fun for both players. Sometimes these things happen, and you should just keep playing. It's really bad sportsmanship if you did call it on turn 1. And again, um, he wanted to call it on turn 5 or whatever, and I said let's just keep playing because I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought it was a reality that maybe he could have drawn an objective, maybe he could have kept his BSB alive and sniped my shapeshifter, which instead of it being a 20-0, I think it would have been closer to, let's see, it would have been 17-3, and then with that point swing, it probably would have been a little bit more like a 16-4 or a 15-5, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, he legitimately had a chance at getting 4 or 5 points, maybe even 6 points. I wanted to give him that and not just take the 20 at that point. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. Sorry for this little lengthy battle report. Basically, um, that's it. I'm also playing in a small team tournament. I'm going to try to chronicle those, but we'll see how that goes, of course. Thank you so much for watching this. If you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't like it, tell me you disliked it. Give me a dislike. I'm fine with that. Constructive criticism is always welcome.